Hey guys, today we're going to be going over our 6th tutorial about how to program in C++, and today we're going to be going over how to use for loops. In the last video we used while loops. This is just a different kind of loop. It's a very important loop to use. I don't really like it personally, but it's extremely important, so that's probably not very good that I'm not very fond of it. I just find it a little bit tedious, and it's something you could use in a while loop, but you have a lot more control with the for loop than you do with the while loop because there are three conditions, or three parameters that you have to put in. Okay, so let's get started. So I have first set up my openers, include iostream.h, and then I set up my main program, int main. I have then defined a variable as a, and then I ask the user to enter a number to count up to, and then I am inputting a, or having them input a, which we're setting as an integer. So this is where our for loop comes in. So a for loop is basically a loop that will continue until the ending conditions are met, which is a condition is mainly going to be in your middle parameter, and the variables that you set up in a for loop most likely won't be extremely changed by the for loop. It's mainly going to be changing other things, and this example is just using it to count up, but you can use a for loop for many other things. So let's get started about going over our code block for our for loop. So like any other command like this, you're going to set up your command, which is for, and then you're going to set up conditions. This has three different things that you have to remember. Okay, so the first is variable definition and variable value. So I've set up my variable, which is in this case b. I've set it up as an integer, and I've also set it up as equal to 0. If I wanted to, I could put this int b up here next to the int a, but I just want to show you how to completely code it, and that would be using that would be adding it to this section of the for loop. So we're saying that we're now about to define a new variable by saying integer b, and we're setting, in our case, we're setting b to 0, and make sure you separate each thing by a semicolon. And so then our second thing is our condition, and so we're saying while b is less than or equal to a, and then we have another semicolon, and then we have b++. Well, what does b++ mean? It's just a shorthand way of writing b equals b plus 1. Your third parameter is going to be about what should the variable be doing after each loop. So we're saying after each loop it should be doing b equals b plus 1. So for example, let's say in our case we set b to 0. So 0 equals 0 first, and then it loops back and it says 0 equals 0 plus 1. So now it's saying that b equals 1, loops again, 1 equals 1 plus 1, loops again, so it's 2, and then loops again and again and again. So that's just how it's being changed after each loop. And then we have two curly braces to put code between, and we're just outputting b. So it's going to go run through this and output b, then it's going to run through this again, go to here and say, okay, add 1 to it, and then output it again. So this is obviously going to be a counting up program. So how are we controlling it so it just doesn't keep outputting b and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and continues on and on? Well, that's because we've set up our condition as a while b is less than or equal to a. So since we've asked we could if we didn't want the user to input something, let's say we just wanted it to count up to 100, we would put 100 right there, and then the program would count up to 100 because it's we set it as 0, and then while it's not 100, so while it's less than or equal to 100, do b++, saying, okay, CLB, which is now 0, loop this again, so you're then going to be outputting 1, loop this again, outputting 2, and so on and on until you hit 100. But we want to utilize our user input stuff, and so we're saying a. So it's basically going to count up to the number that they've inputted. So I'm just going to run this to show you exactly how it works. And now this is a counting up program. I'm going to be showing you how to count down as well. These are just little ways to use for loops. You can use your imagination about how to use them, but I'm just showing you basic ways to use them. So let's enter a number to count up to. Let's say 33. Okay? It's taken up more space in the text box, but you can see it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way down to 33. And then it ends the program. Okay, so it's done exactly what we've told it to. We have set the number that we're counting up to A, and we've added that to the for loop by saying while B is less than or equal to A, add 1 to B, and then we're outputting B. If you don't output B, it'll just do this, and then nothing will be outputted. So you have to remember to output B. Like I'll show you. If I just do this, nothing will happen. Okay, I'm gonna compile and run this. Just not going to output anything. It might even give me an error message, I'm not sure. Enter number to count up to 30 or 44. Nothing happens. But notice, since we have nothing in this code block, that's why nothing happens. But notice if we did cout B and line right here, that's just going to make it output whatever we input. So let's run that. What does it say? It says, oh, okay, I can't even do that, but basically what it's doing is, if this were able to work, then it would be just outputting whatever we have inputted. But so just always remember to keep whatever you want to happen to your variable into the for loop. Okay, so by putting this here in between the curly braces, it will work completely fine like we want it to. It's going to compile and run that. And enter a number to count up to 123. Just did it like that, pretty fast. It doesn't happen instantaneously. You can kind of see it count up. So yeah, that's how to count up. Now I'm going to be going over how to count down. There's a lot of it. There's not too much you have to change about it. We keep our same headers and everything, and we also keep input A. But the only thing that we have to change is that our integer, we have to say that B is now equal to A, because we want it to count down from B to 0. So we want B then to naturally equal A, because we want it to be B minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, so like 50, 54, 53, 52, 51. So we have to set B equal to A then, because whatever they input, they want enter number to count down from like 10, so then B has to equal 10, and then while B is greater than or equal to 0, do B minus minus, which is just the opposite of B plus plus, and then cout B. So let's go run this, and it's just counting down program. I'll put both of these in the description. Yep, so you guys can see how it really works. So let's do 55. Obviously it's counted down all the way to 0. So since we've set B equal to A, it's saying, okay, since I've inputted 55, it's now outputting B, and then until B is 0 minus 1 from B. So B minus 1, and then now B minus 1, B minus 1, B minus 1, so on and so forth until we get to our set parameters, which we have set to 0, naturally a countdown program. If you wanted to set yours to -10, it would run down to -10. Whatever you change here is it's gonna run down to, or in our other case, run up to is just gonna run up to the value that they have chosen. Okay, so that's basically how to do for loops. That's very basic stuff about for loops. If you have any questions, which I can understand why you would about this, it's a little bit more complicated, post them. I will gladly answer them. If you even want me to remake this video, I will. I really want some feedback about what you guys need help with, if you're understanding what I'm doing, or whatever. So, thanks for watching this video, and see you guys later.